Takamo Koki, Takamo Rapetari, Ekon Ivory, Tare Ulaita Wuri, Nalipisho in Chicamo, Ata Shisinoyamuri, we went for sea, Shumela Ifela, Matello, Gat, Walian, Living, Laur, Pele, Anakam, Upetipili, which is at Pele Tabori, Fetunau Fita, Remla Tuo, Pele Mobila Poro, Milapie, Balatwa, Balatwa Bayona, Ibelim, Malatoma Tomo, Waf Pelamo, Mulapu, 25, Lipo Numanaka, or Talita Mila Dreaming, Pelapili, Moya, Molapia 26, Waf Pelagamla 2, Waf 2.
For the sake of completeness, may I just indicate that this joinder will be in terms of section 81.1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, which is
Mare Tarale German Adrika Idiwa, Yalika Karulo, Yahu 81 Wamatomo, Wamulao, Wawla, Spiritual Answer, Wamula to see.
Accused, good morning. I have been informed by the public prosecutor in this matter that there are additional charges that should be joined to the charges that you are facing in this matter. That being count number 26 to 32 from the existing account. And this application is done in terms of section 81, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act. And just before the court finally pronounced advocate.
Court, this is your
welcome. Mr. Court, and you appear on behalf of all the accused.
Indeed so.
Before we proceed with the bail application, there is an application by the state that additional charges be joined. I assume that you have been appraised of the charges.
Indeed so, Your Worship.
Obviously, there is no objection. Thank you. I interacted with your defense counsel in this and that to the charges that the state intended to prefer against you, additional charges. And count number 26 is that of murder, read with the relevant provision of section 51, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Amendment Act 105 of 1997. And the count number 27 is that of fraud. Count number 28 as well is that of fraud. Count number 29 is also fraud charge that we are facing. Count number 30 is of contravention of section 4, read with section 1 and 8 of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act 151 of 1998, that is money laundering. Count number 31 being a count of murder, read with the provision of section 51, subsection 1 of the Criminal Law Amendment Act 105 of 1997 as amended. And the count number 32 is that of murder, read with the provision of section 51, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act 105 of 1997 as amended. So the court intended you to know what are the additional charges had, hence I read the content of the charges. And this application is done in terms of section 81, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 as amended. The application is therefore accordingly granted.
Mosusu dula kupelo mo gore ba nyaka go taleletsa go ketsa melato ye di la fetwa ka yona go tswela pele ka molato wa ditatofatso tsa 26 go fetela molato wa 32 kupelo ye mosusi o le dira go ya le ka karolo ya go 81 motho wa mathomo molaong wa o laola tshepedišo ya tsheko ya melato ya bosenyi ke ile ka fa moemedi wa lena sebaka sa ka kontiso ke nnete ke ena le emetse molato mo le gore ana o na le bothata wa o na le sa nyaka mo fatela ka sona mabapi le kgopelo e dišitile ke motšhotšhisi a re aowa kgopelo ya motšhotšhisi a e tswele pele ka gore yalo melato ye e tlaleletswao o thoma ka molato wa 26 e bala ya mputo molato wa 26 kwa polao molato wa 27 kwa bomeneja wa bofora molato wa 28 le wona kwa bomeneja molato wa 29 kwa bomeneja molato wa 30 ke molato wa go leka o ka tliša tšhelete ye e leng gore o ne bosodi ba gore e fetotšwe ka ditsela tša go se be molaong molato wa 31 ke molato wa polao le molato wa 32 ke molato wa polao melato ya polao e balwa o balelafatšwa ka yona go akaretswa le karolo ya molao karolo ya go 51 motho wa mathomo molao o e leng gore kwa 105 wa ma 197 o bolelago ka bonnyane ba dipoto tše kgoro e ka lefago tšona ge le ka bona molato ka molato wa polao.
Yes, you can now proceed as stated.
As the court pleases you, should count one as follows. The accused are guilty of the crime of murder is that upon or about 21 October 2019, at Onyake 5 Dam, Westonbirt in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Nokosi Nimunja, an adult male person. The state further averred that the murder was planned or premeditated. Count number 2 is that of fraud, in that on or about 1 March 2019 at Onyake in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud misrepresented to iLife Insurance Company that she was espoused to Nokosi Nimunja and did then and there, by means of the said misrepresentation, induce iLife Insurance Company to issue an accidental death policy cover for an amount of 650,000 rand with reference policy number 11334693, and that on the 25th of October 2019, she submitted claim to iLife Insurance Company for a natural death of Nokosi Nimunja, claiming to be the spouse, which One Life Insurance Company rejected the claim to the prejudice of iLife Insurance Company in the amount of 100,000 rand. Whereas the accused, when she made that misrepresentation, knew that in truth she was not a spouse to Nokosi Nimunja and was not married either customarily or by civil rights or registered into a partnership to Nokosi Nimunja. And this count applies only to Raiseja Kudumela Shokani. Count 3. And this one also applies to Raiseja Shokani, in that on or about the 11th of September 2019 at Onyake in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and falsely with intent to defraud, misrepresented to Old Mutual Insurance Company that she was a spouse to Nkosi Munja and did there and then. By means of the said misrepresentation, induced Old Mutual Insurance Company to issue an accidental death policy cover for an amount of 650,000 rand with the reference number Green Light Policy number 187533189, and that on the 28th of October 2019, she submitted claim documents to Old Mutual Insurance Company for a natural death of Nkosi Munja, claiming to be the spouse, which Old Mutual Insurance Company rejected the claim to the prejudice of Old Mutual Insurance Company in the amount of 650,000 rand, whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, knew that in truth she was not a spouse to Nkosi Munja and was not married either customarily or by civil rights or registered into a partnership to Nkosi Munja. Count number 4 only applies to accused number 1, Rachel Shokani Kutumela. In that on or about the 15th of July 2019 at Onia Purukwani in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, misrepresented to First National Bank that she was a spouse to Nkosi Munja and did there and then. By means of the said misrepresentation, induced First National Bank to issue an accidental death policy cover and listed as a beneficiary for an amount of 1,500,000 rand with reference number CP 300149530, and that on the 4th of November 2019 she submitted claim documents to First National Bank for a natural death of Nkosi Munja, claiming to be the spouse. And that on the 12th of March 2020, First National Bank deposited an amount of 1,505,000 rand into Raisita R. Shokani account number, I will skip that, Your Worship, to the prejudice of First National Bank in the amount of 1,505,000 rand. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, knew that in truth she was not a spouse to Nkosi Munja and was not married either customarily or by civil rights, nor registered into a partnership to Nkosi Munja. Count number 5 is a count of murder, which applies to all accused, that the accused are guilty of the crime of murder, and that upon or about 4 July 2020 at Ornia Lokama village in Mulej, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Joyce Tsela Malesa, an adult female person. The state further averred that the murder was planned and premeditated, and also that the accused were acting in common perils. Count number 6 only applies to accused number 1, Raisita Kutumela, that of fraud, and that upon or about 15th day of April 2020 and at Ornia Purukwani in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with the intent to defraud, misrepresented to First National Bank live that she was Joyce Tsela Malesa and applied for accidental death plan policy and did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induced First National Bank to issue an accidental death plan policy and listed herself, being the accused, number 1, as the sole beneficiary of the policy and stood to benefit an amount of 3 million rand under policy number 300184417. And that on the 12th day of April 2021, she submitted claim documents to First National Bank live for unnatural death of Joyce Malesa, claiming that the deceased was found dead in a shack, which claim was rejected by First National Bank. To the potential prejudice of First National Bank in the amount of 3 million rands. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, she knew that in truth and in fact, she was not Joyce Zelamalesa, and that she intended to have the deceased killed in order to benefit from the death, from the accidental death plan policy. Count number 7 is a kind of murder which applies to all accused, in that the accused are guilty of the crime of murder, in that upon or about 6 April 2021, at Orneram Uru village in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Navel Mahat Gutume, an adult male person. The state aversed that the murder was planned or premeditated, and the accused were acting in the furtherance of a common purpose. Count number 8 is that of defeating the ends of justice, which applies only to accused number 1, Rachel Shokani Gutumela, is that of defeating or obstructing the administration of justice, in that upon or about 6 April 2021 at Ornyarampur village in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and with intent to defeat or obstruct the course of justice, placed the deceased body of Navel Mahatu Gutumela in the middle of R567 road, which had defeated or obstructed the administration of justice. Count number 9 applies only to accused number 1, in that on or about 12 October 2020 at Orniabologwan in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely and with intent to defraud, misrepresented to ABSA that the person in a company was one Navel Mahatu Gutume, who wanted to apply for a funeral policy and did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induced ABSA Life to issue funeral policy cover for an amount of 1 million rand with policy reference number 663516312, and that the person who applied for the funeral policy made the accused the sole beneficiary of that policy. And that on the 12th day of April 2021, she submitted claim documents to ABSA Life for a natural death of Navel Gutumela, to which ABSA rejected the claim, to the potential prejudice of ABSA Life Insurance Company in the amount of 200,000. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, knew that in truth, Navel Mahatu Gutumela could not enter into any contract as he was mentally challenged. Count number 10 only applies to accused number 1, is that of fraud, and that upon or about 7 February 2020 at Orniabologwan in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, misrepresented to First National Bank that the person in a company was one Navel Mahatu Gutumela, who wanted to apply for a funeral policy and did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induced First National Bank Life to issue a funeral policy cover for an amount of 63,000 rands with policy reference number F155-78070, and that the person who applied for the funeral cover made the accused the sole beneficiary of that policy. And on the 10th day of April 2021, she submitted claim documents to First National Bank Insurance Company for a natural death of Navel Gutumela, to which First National Bank Life paid an amount of 126,000 rand into Rachel Rice Shokani's FNB account, to the prejudice of First National Bank Life Insurance Company in the amount of 126,000. Whereas the accused, when she made this misrepresentation, knew that in truth, Navel Makatu Kutmela could not enter into any contract as he was mentally challenged. Count number 11 only applies to accused number 1. Is that of fraud? And that on or about 3 March 2020, actually in the district of Capricorn, the accused unlawfully and falsely and with intent to defraud misrepresented to Holland Life Insurance Company that the person in the company was one Navel Makatu Kutmela, who wanted to apply for a funeral policy and did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induced Holland Life Insurance Company to issue a funeral policy cover for an amount of 63,000 rand with policy reference number 157-15644. And that the person who applied for the funeral policy, for this funeral policy, made the accused the sole beneficiary of that policy. And that, on the 9th day of April 2021, she submitted claim documents to Holland Insurance Company for the natural death of Navel Kutmela, to which Holland Insurance Company paid in an amount of 63,000 rand into Rachel Raisita Shogani's ABSA account, to the prejudice of Holland Insurance Company in the amount of 63,000 rand. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, knew that in truth, Navel Makatu Kutmela could not enter into a contract as he was mentally challenged. Count number 12 only applies to Raisita Rachel Kutmela Shokani. It's a fraud, and that on the 15th day of July 2019, at Ornia Purukwan in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud misrepresented to Asupo Life that she was legitimately applying to take accidental death cover for Navel Makatu Kutmela, and did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induced Asupo Life to issue an accidental death policy cover and listed herself as a beneficiary for an amount of 62,000 rand and the policy number AL10000001570-175. And that on the 12th day of April 2021, she submitted claim document to Ashupu Life for natural death of Navel Makatu Kutmela, claiming that the deceased Navel Makatu Kutmela was found lying in the middle of the road. And that on the 20th day of April 2021, Asupol deposited an amount of 124,000 rand into Raisita Shogani's ABSA account to the prejudice of Asupol Life in the amount of 124,000 rand. Whereas the accused made this misrepresentation, she knew that in truth, when she took the policy cover, she intended to have the deceased killed in order to benefit from the accidental death cover, which pays double the amount. Count 13 is a count of murder which applies to all accused. The accused are guilty of the crime of murder in that on or about the first day of August 2021 in Echoringa Motung village in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Mapari Ephraim Toshi, an adult male person. The state affirms that the murder was planned or premeditated and the accused were all acting in furtherance of common purpose. Count number 14 applies to accused number 1, Rachel Raisita Kutmela Shokani, is a charge of fraud in that upon or about 14 May 2021, Etorania Polokwan in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, misrepresented to Standard Bank that she was legitimately applying to take a funeral policy plan for Mapari Ephraim Tushi, and did then and there, by means of the said misrepresentation, induce Standard Bank to issue a funeral plan policy and listed herself as a beneficiary for an amount of 100,000 rand under policy number FUN 001880811. And that on the 12th day of August 2021, she submitted claim documents to Standard Bank for a natural death of Mapari Ifran Choshi, claiming that the deceased Mapari Ifran Choshi was found lying dead in the middle of the street. And that Standard Bank deposited an amount of 200,000 into Raiseja Shokani Standard Bank account. So the prejudice of Standard Bank in the amount of 200,000 rands. And I just corrected that, Josh. In the amount, that's correct, Josh, in the amount of 200,000. That's the correct piece. Whereas when the accused made the self-misrepresentation, she knew in truth when she took the policy funeral plan, she intended to have the deceased killed in order to benefit from that policy. Count number 15, when it applies to accused number 1, Raiseja Rachel Kutumela Shokani, is a count of fraud in that on or about 1 September 2017, at Orania Polokwane, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud, misrepresented to Holland Life Insurance Company that she was legitimately applying to take a funeral plan policy from Mapari Ifran Choshi, and did then and thereby means of the said misrepresentation induced Holland Life Assurance Company to issue a funeral plan policy, and she listed herself as a beneficiary for an amount of 75,000 rand under policy number 14169576. And that on the 5th day of January 2021, she submitted claim documents to Holland Life Assurance Company for a natural death of Mapari Ifran Choshi, claiming that the deceased was found lying in the middle of the street. And that on the 12th day of August 2021, Holland Life Assurance Company deposited an amount of 98,089 cents it's 980,000 rand and 40 cents into the account, Capitec account of Raiseja Shokani, to the prejudice of Ashupol in the said amount. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, she knew that in truth, when she took the funeral policy cover, she intended to have the deceased killed in order to benefit from the policy, from that policy. Count number 16, the count of murder applicable to the three accused before court, in that the accused are guilty of the crime of murder, in that on or about 14 September 2022, at near Modung Village, Mahof, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Jacob Pedros Siagamel, an adult male person. The state averts that this murder was pre-planned and premeditated, and that the accused were acting in the furtherance of the common purpose. Count 17 applies to accused number 1, is that of defeating or obstructing the administration of justice, and that the accused is guilty of the crime of defeating the administration of justice, in that upon or about 14 September 2022, at Modung Village in Mapofe, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and with intent to defeat or obstruct the course of justice, placed the deceased body of Jacob Pedros Siagamela in a dumping area which had defeated or obstructed the administration of justice. Count number 18 is also a crime of fraud only applicable to accused number 1, in that upon or about the 20th of April 2022 at Ornia Polokwane in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully, falsely, and with intent to defraud misrepresented to First National Bank Life that she was Masepe Jamaris Sebek, and applied for an accidental death policy plan, and and did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induced First National Bank Life to issue an accidental death claim policy on the life of David Siakama and stood to benefit an amount of 1.5 million rand under policy number CP300243016. And that on the 28th of September 2022, she submitted claim documents to First National Bank Life for the natural death of David Siakama, claiming that the deceased was found lying in the street, which claim was rejected by First National Bank to the potential prejudice of First National Bank Life in the amount of 1.5 million rand. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, knew that in truth, when she was not Damaris Sineke, and she intended to have the deceased killed in order to benefit from the accident death claim policy. Count number 19 applies to the three accused before court that are guilty of the crime of murder and that upon or about 13 April 2024 at Ornyam Modung village in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Puti Martin Mutata, an adult male person. The state asserts that the murder was planned, premeditated, and the three accused were acting in the furtherance of the common murder. Count number 20, if indicated, only applies to accused number 2 and accused number 3. This is where the possession or use of proceeds of an unlawful activity. In that during the period 30 to 31st October 2019, at Ornia Polokwane, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally acquire, use or possess property, well knowing and or where they ought to have known that the property to with monies amounting to approximately 100,000 rand. The state will argue that at all material times these accused were acting in the furtherance of the common purpose. Count number 21, this is money laundering for accused number 2 and accused number 3. In that during the period 30 to 31 October 2019, at Ornia Polokwane, the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally, well knowing and or where they ought to have known that the property to with monies amounting to approximately 200,000 were or not formed part of the proceeds, were or formed part of the proceeds of an unlawful activities to with fraud, and thereby accused number 1 deposited a portion of cash in smaller amount into a other bank account and into the bank account of accused number 2 and 3, where all accused spent and or utilized the money by buying various goods items which has or likely to have the effect of enabling or assisting the accused number 1 to remove or diminish the property, which is money, acquired directly as a result of the commission of the offense of fraud. The state will allege that at all material times the accused acted in the furtherance of the common purpose. I just correct that this count of money laundering applies to the 3 accused before. Count number 22, acquisition, use or possession of property which is the proceeds of an unlawful activity. This applies to all accused. In that during 12 to 18 March 2020 at Ornia Polokwane in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally acquire, use or possess property well known and or where they ought to have known that the property to with monies amounting to approximately 975,000 rands. The state will argue that at all material times the accused acted in the furtherance of the common purpose. Count number 23, the count of money laundering, which applies to all three accused before court. In that, during the period 12 to 18 March 2020, later in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally, well knowing and or where they ought to have known that the property to which monies amounting to approximately 1,505,000 rand were or formed part of the proceeds of an unlawful activities to which fraud, and thereby accused number 1 deposited a portion of cash in smaller amounts into her other bank accounts and into bank account of accused number 2 and 3, whereby all accused spent or utilized the money by buying various goods items which has or likely to have the effect of enabling or assisting the accused number 1 to remove or diminish property acquired directly as a result of the commission of the offense of fraud. And we'll argue also that they were acting in the furtherance of the common. Count number 24 also applies to all accused is the crime of acquisition, use and possession of property which is the proceeds of an unlawful activity. In that during the period 13 October 2022, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally acquire, use or possess property well knowing and or where they ought to have known that the property to which monies amounting to approximately 60,000 rands, we will argue that the three accused were acting in the furtherance of the common purpose. Count number 25 is the count of money laundering, which applies to three accused before. In that during the period of 13 October 2022, and actually near Polokwane, the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally, well knowing and or where they ought to have known that the property to which monies amounting to approximately 200,000 rand were or formed part of the proceeds of unlawful activities to which fraud, and thereby accused number 1 deposited a portion of cash in smaller amounts into her other bank accounts and also into the bank accounts of accused number 2 and 3, whereby all accused spent or utilized the money by buying various goods items which has or likely to have the effect of enabling or assisting the accused number 1 to remove or diminish the property acquired directly as a result of the commission of the offense of fraud. Also, we argue that they were acting in the furtherance of the common purpose. Count number 26, the count of murder applicable to all the three accused before court, in that on or about the 4th day of May 2019, at Orna Foshville Road, Sebokeng, in the district of Sebokeng, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of stray-dog raiders, an adult male person. We are aware that the murder of the deceased was premeditated and the accused were all acting in furtherance of the common purpose. Count number 27 is a crime of fraud applicable to Anna Rice-Sejashoka. In that honor about the 19th day, this is accused number 2. Yes. In that honor about the 19th day of March 2019 at Sebokeng in the district of Sebokeng, the accused unlawfully, falsely and with intent to defraud misrepresented to FNB Life that she was a spouse to stray-dog raiders. Did there and then, by means of the said misrepresentation, induce FNB Life to issue an accidental death policy cover for an amount of 1.5 million rand with reference number CP 300126107. And that on the 27th day of May 2019, she submitted claim documents to FNB Life for the unnatural death of stray-dog raiders, claiming to be the spouse, which FNB Life rejected the such claim. to the potential prejudice of FNB Life in the amount of 1.5 million rands. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, she knew that in truth she was not espoused to stray dominators and was not married either customarily or by civil rights or registered into a partnership with the said stray dominators. Count number 28, only applicable to accused number 2 another Shokani. The crime of fraud in that upon and about 2 April 2019 at Onyasibuke in the district of Shilibe, the accused did unlawfully falsely with intent to defraud misrepresented to all the mutual insurance company that she was espoused to stray dominators and did there and then by means of the said misrepresentation induce all mutual insurance company to issue an accidental death policy cover for an amount of 1 million rand with reference number green light 186-46708. And that on the 27th of May 2019, she submitted claim documents to all mutual insurance company for an unnatural death of stray dominators claiming to be the spouse, which claim was rejected by all mutual insurance company to the potential prejudice of all mutual insurance company in the amount of 1 million rands. Whereas the accused, when she made the misrepresentation, she knew that in truth she was not espoused to the said stray dominators and was not married either customarily or by civil rights or registered into a partnership through stray dominators. Count number 21, only applicable to accused number 2 another Shokani, is a crime of fraud.
Count number 21.
It's 29.
Thank you. I just realized that you mentioned something.
From 28 is that of fraud, and now we are at 29.
Thank you.
My apologies. Judgment that is as follows is the crime of fraud in that on or about 1 April 2019 at Onyasibuke in the district of Shilibe, the accused did unlawfully falsely with intent to defraud misrepresented to Holland Life that she was espoused to stray dominators and did then by means of the said misrepresentation induce Holland Life to issue an incidental death policy cover for an amount of 75,000 rand with reference number 15145045. And that on the 7th day of May 2019, she submitted claim documents to Holland Life for an unnatural death of stray dominators claiming to be the spouse, which Holland Life paid an amount of 75,000 rand into the Capitec account belonging to Anna Raisita Shokani on 25 July 2019 to the prejudice of Holland Life in the amount of 75,000 rand. When she made the said misrepresentation, she knew in truth she was not espoused to stray dominators and was not married either customary by civil rights or registered into a partnership to stray dominators. Count number 30 is that of money laundering applicable to all three accused before court. In that during the period 27 June to 26 July 2019, at Oromia Polokwane, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally, well knowing and or where they ought to have known that the property to which monies amounting to approximately 237,939.95 cents were or formed part of the proceeds of an unlawful activities to which fraud, and thereby accused number 2 deposited portion of cash in smaller amounts into her other bank account and into the bank account of accused number 1 and accused number 3, where all accused spent or utilized the money by buying buyer's goods, items which has or likely to have the effect of enabling or assisting accused number 2 to remove and or diminish money acquired directly as a result of the commission of fraud. Will I, Your Worship, that also here they were acting the furtherance of the common purpose. This is now count number 31. It's a count of murder applicable to the 3 accused before court in that on or about 6 June 2020, in Etorania Makilereke village in the district of Sikukuni, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Gordon Orateng Asikoma, an adult male person. We allege that this murder was premeditated or planned and committed by the 3 accused in the furtherance of the common purpose. Count number 32, also a crime of murder applicable to the 3 accused before court, and that on or about 17 May 2013, near the Wahoo, in the district of Capricorn, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally cause the death of Andrew Makariet, an adult male person. We also allege murder was premeditated, accused were acting in the furtherance of the common purpose. With that being said, we submit that this bail application falls within Schedule 6, and as we have already indicated to court, the state stand opposed to the release of the accused.
May I interject the accused
the accused were seated? Is there a basis? The accused were seated? Yes, you can proceed.
Anakwa wakaushi lele tamula specified tukoya Western Bay lifunuli mo release litin sa Capricorn mo mo wala fatwa kama ikemishi vile kana mmola waida watu la lipo lanu ku Sydney munja mtuwasi na umugulu fabala kutisi le la fatwa kula woye ireriwe ile bala fatwa baidile kama ikemishito ati mulatu wabubili mulatu wa women mo ulafatwa mulatu imenga sita Rachel Kani Fera ulafatwa ore anakwa chatin fedila 1 March 2019 ni filo ile anamo kulikuwa ni kulikuwa ni sitting sa Capricorn mulatufatwa kama ikemishito kabufu ka ufura lima ikimshejo ufureta kampani ya insurance ya iLife wori yena kimolekani wanu kusi ni munja kauri yalo ka ufura uwe adira wori kampani ya insurance ya iLife i ule polisi yali kulele ka harabu kabakala poti mweli ngori ubuto patela chete yali kana 650,000 ya ranta kafatinga nomoro ya polisi 11334693 lebore tari 25 tapo ya Oktoba 2019 mula fatwa uile Aisha umelali dokomani kupela kore kampani ya iLife ya insurance i patele tave nungu Sydney muncha a tokofeti kama kwawe usbengwa saa ifela kampani ya iLife ile ya ana kupelo ye identity moi ngori ngabe ba dumele o kapatela be bata ba vale tatere ya cherete ya onikana 100,000 moi ngori mola fatwa be ya shala furetša kampane e o ba tseba gore nnete yena a se yena molekane wa Noko Sydney Montšha le gore a se ba nyalana e ka ba ka setšo goba ka mokgwa wa go saenela go tlhakanela thuto ebile a se balekane yena le Noko Sydney Montšha. Molato wa boraro ke molato ba re mo latofadzwa molatofadzwa wa mathomo e beng yena Raesetša Rachel Tumelakane mo latofadzwa gore kana kwa tšatšing kgwedi la 11 ka September ngwaga 2019 lefelo e le mo Polokwane wa kgauswi le Polokwane seleteng sa Capricorn molatofadzwa kgatlhanong le molao ka bofora le maikemišetšo a go foretša kampane ya di-insurance ya Old Mutual gore yena ke yena molekane wa Noko Sydney Montšha ka gore yalo bofora bae ba tlhola gore kampane ya di-insurance ya Old Mutual e bule policy ya lefu le le ka tlhayago ka mokgwa o kotsi ba bolela Noko Sydney Montšha ba molela policy ya tšhelete ya go lekana 650,000 ya diranta mo policing ya go bitswa gore Green Light ya nomoro 18753,189 mo e leng gore ka tšatši kgwedi la 28 October ngwaga 2019 molatofadzwa o ile a iša goba romela ditokomane kwa Old Mutual gore yo Noko Sydney Montšha o tlhokofetše ka mokgwa wa tsela e seng ya tlhago efela kampane ya Old Mutual ile ya ana kgopelo ya gage mo e leng gore nkabe ba ile ba dumela be ba tlabe ba ile ba latlhegelwa ke tšhelete ya go lekana 650,000 ya diranta mo e leng gore molatofadzwa ge a šala a dira boforao o be a tseba gore nnete a se yena molekane wa Noko Sydney Montšha ke gore a ba tsebo ke ba nyalana e ka ba ka setšo goba ka mokgwa wa go hlakanela thuto yena le Noko Sydney Montšha. Molato wa bone ke molato wa bomenetša mo molatofadzwa wa mathomo e beng Raesetša Rachel Tumelakane mo latofadzwa gore ka letšatši kgwedi ka 15 tša July ngwaga 2019 ana go Polokwane wa kgauswi le Polokwane seleteng sa Capricorn molatofadzwa ka kgatlhanong le molao ka bofora le maikemišetšo a go manetša banka ya FNB gore yena ke yena molekane wa Noko Sydney Montšha ka bofora bo wa gage a tlhola gore FNB e bule policy ya lefu le le ka tlhayago ka mokgwa wa kotsi maeneng a Noko Sydney Montšha a ke ngwadiša bjale ka yena motho wa enoši o e leng gore ge o ka hlaga lefu leowe o swantse go lefelwa tšhelete ya go lekana 1 million le 505,000 ka fase ga nomoro ya CP300149,530 mola letšatšing kgwedi la 24 tša November ngwaga 2019 molatofadzwa o ile a iša romela ditokomane kwa FNB gore yo Noko Sydney Montšha o tlhokofetše ka tsela e leng gore a se a tlhago yena bjale ka molekane wa gage o tsentšha kgopelo ya go patelwa tšhelete ka di-12 ka March ngwaga 2020 FNB ile ya lokela tšhelete ya go lekana 1,505,000 ka gare ga account ya banka ya Raesetša Arshokane ka gore yalo FNB ya latlhegelwa ke masheleng a o lekana 1,505,000 mola e leng gore yo molatefatšwa ge a šala a furetša FNB wa tseba gabotse gore nneteng yena le yo nokosene montšha a se balekane a ba nyalana e ka ba ka setšo goba go hlakanela thutu molato wa bohlano ke molato wa polao mo e leng gore balatefatšwa ka moka ba le wa bararo ba latefatšwa ka molato o latefatša gore a nako a letšatšing la di-4 July ma 2020 lefelong wa kgauswi le a nako a leokama moletši seleteng sa kepe balatefatšwa kgatlhanong le molao ebile ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba tlhola lefu la Joyce Tsela Malesa motho wa sesadi o mogolo lefapha la botšhotšhisi re tlo nganga gore polao ye e rerilwe ebile balatefatšwa ge ba e dira ka maikemišetšo a matiri molato wa botsela ke molato wa bomenetša mo o latefatšwa gona molatefatšwa wa matoromo gore ka letšatši kgwedi la di-15 April 2020 lefelong bolokwane ba kgauswi bolokwane seleteng sa kepefor molatefatšwa kgathanong le molao ka go fura maikemišetšo e le go manetša first FNB life gore yena ke yena Joyce Tsela Malesa ebile o kgopela go bolelwa polisi ya lefu le le ka hlagang ka tsela ya goba ya kotsi ka gore yalo o ile a dira gore FNB e bule polisi ebile a ke ngwadiša yena molatefatšwa bjale ka motho a enoši o e leng gore o swantše go patelwa ge o ka tlhala lefu le bue o Tsela Malesa ebile o ba tlo boelwa ke tšhelete ya go lekana 3 million ya diranta ka fatshe ga polisi ya nomoro 3001-84417 le gore ka letšatši kgwedi la 12 April 2021 molatefatšwa o ile a romela go baiša ditokomane kwa FNB life gore yo Joyce Malesa o tlhokofetše ka tsela e sebeng ya tlhano a latefatša gore Joyce Malesa o hweditšwe a tlhokofetše ka ga mokhu kgopelo ye nngwe FNB ile ya e gana mo e leng gore ge nkabe ba ile ba dumela se o be a se bega be ba tla ba ile ba latlhegelwa ke tšhelete ya go lekana 3 million ya diranta mo e leng gore molatefatšwa wa tseba ge ya dira bofora bo gore nnete a se yena Joyce Tsela Malesa ebile yena o ba na le maikemišetšo a go dira gore Joyce Tsela Malesa a bolawe gore yena a kgone go ka boelwa ke tšhelete go ya le ka polisi eo ka molato wa bošupa ke molato wa polao mo e leng gore balatefatšwa ka moka ka molato mo go latefatšwa more ka letšatši kgwedi la di-6 April 2021 lefelong e le kwa motseng wa Rampuru ba kgauswi le motsowe seleteng sa kepefor balatefatšwa kgathanong le molao ebile ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba tlhola lefu la Navel Magadi motho wa senna o mogolo lefapha la botšhotšhisi le nganga gore molato wa polao o rerilwe ebile balatefatšwa ge ba o dira ka maikemišetšo a tiro molato wa bo-8 ke molato wa go šitiša tsamaišo ya tuka go phethela mo o latefatšwang gore ka letšatši kgwedi la o ke molato o latefatšwang molatefatšwa wa mathomo ka ona fela o latefatšwa ka letšatši kgwedi la di-6 April 2021 a nako a wa kgauswi le motse wa Rampuru seleteng sa kepefor molatefatšwa kgathanong le molao ebile ka maikemišetšo ao setšhaba ba go fenya tsamaiso ya toka o ile a beya setupu sa mofu naval maga dumela ka gare ga tsela e bitswa gore R567 modiro o ke o e leng gore o šitišitše wa o ile wa kwadiša tsamaiso ya toka o phete molato wa bo 9 ke molato wa bo manager o latofatšwa molato wa mathomo ka gore o latofatšwa gore ka letsatsi kgwedi la ditlhaloso tša oktoba ngwaga 2020 ana mo polokwane goba kgauswi le polokwane seleteng sa keko molatofatšwa ka maikemišetšo molatofatšwa kgatlhano le molao ka bofora maikemišetšo a go manager ABSA o ile a botša ABSA gore go na le motho ka gare ga kampane ya gage a bitswa gore naval magatho kutumela o e leng gore o nyaka go bula policy ya poloko a dira ka o dira bjalo ka bofora bona bogwe a dira gore ABSA Life e bule policy ya poloko ya tšhelete ya go lekana 100,000 ka fase ka nomoro ya policy 66351631112 a tswela pele le go botša ABSA gore motho o a ngwadišago policy e nngwe ya nomoro 66351631112 o ngwadišitše yena a enoši bjale ka motho o e leng gore o swantše go patola tšhelete ge o ka tlhale ka gore yalo ka tšatši la di-12 tša April ngwaga 2024 molatofatšwa o ile a romela o ba iša ditokomane kwa ABSA Life tša gore yo naval go dumela o tlhokofetše ka tsela e sebeng ya tlhago e fela ABSA ya gana kgopelo e a itsentšitšeo ya go lefelwa tšhelete mo e leng gore e nkabe ba ile ba dumela go lefa tšhelete be ba tlabe ba ile ba latlhegelwa ka tšhelete ya go lekana 200,000 ya diranta mo e leng gore molatofatšwa ge a dira bofora o be a tseba gore nnete naval magatho ga kgone go ka tsenela kontraka efe kapa efe ka baka la gore o ba ne bofokodi tikologo molato wa 10 ke molato mo e leng gore molatofatšwa wa mathomo o latofatšwa ka bosenyi ba bomenetša o latofatšwa gore gana kwa letšatšing kgwedi ka di-7 tša February ngwaga 2020 lefelong polokwane wa kgauswi le polokwane seleteng sa keko molatofatšwa kgatlhano le molao ka bofora ebile maikemišetšo e le go manager First National Bank goba FNB gore o na le motho kwa kampaneng ya gare ba reng ke naval magatho kutumela o e leng gore o nyako gola policy ya poloko ka gore yalo bofora ba ge ba tlhola gore FNB Life e bule policy ya poloko e leng gore e tlo lefa tšhelete ya go lekana 63,000 ya diranta ka fase ya nomoro F15578070 le gore motho wo a bulago policy ye o ngwadišitše yena a enoši bjale ka motho e leng gore o swantše go lefelwa tšhelete ge o ka tlhage ka gore yalo ka di-10 tša April ngwaga 2021 molatofatšwa ile a iša ona romela ditokomane kwa kampaneng ya FNB gore yo naval kutumela o tlhokofetše ka tsela e sebeng ya tlhago se e leng gore se ile ka dira gore FNB Life e patele tšhelete ya go lekana 126,000 ya diranta ka gare ga account ya banka ya FNB ya Rachel Raisitša Shokana mo e leng gore seo se ile sa tlhola First National Bank Life e latlhegelwe ke tšhelete ya go lekana 126,000 ya diranta. Ge molafatwa a dira bofura bo gore a tseba gabotse gore nnete yo Naval Makgakge a kgone go ka tsenela kontraka efe kapa efe ka baka la gore o ne thata ba kgopolo. Molato wa bo 11 ke molato wa bo meneta mo go lafatwa go Rachel Kutume Shokana gore ka letsatsi kgwedi ka di 3 tsa March 2020 ana mo polokwane o ba ka fulufula polokwane sebetsa sa ke yo molafatwa kgatlhanong le molao ka mokgwa go fora maikemišetšo e go manager Holland Life Insurance even company gore o na le motho ka company ya gage ba reng ke Naval Makgakge yo a nyaka go bula policy ya poloko ka gore yalo bofora ba ge ba tlhola company ya Holland ya insurance e bule policy ya tšhelete ya bokana 63,000 ka pasela nomoro 1571564 le gore motho o bongwe a bolao policy yeo ya poloko o ngwadišitše yena a e noši bjale ka motho mo o swantse o lefela tšhelete ge o ka tlhakateng ka tšatši ka di-9 tša April ngwa 2021 molafatwa a romela baiša kwa gola gore yo Naval Kutume o kgokofetše ka tsela e seleng ya tlhalo se e leng gore se ile sa dira gore Holland e patele tšhelete ya go lekana 63,000 ya diranta ka gare account ya raisetša Rachel Shokane e beng account ya banka ya Absa mo e leng gore seo se ile sa tlhola yona Holland e latlhegelwe ke tšhelete ya go lekana 63,000 ya diranta mo e leng gore molafatwa a šala a foretša Holland gore a tseba gore nnete Naval Makgakge Kutume a kgone go ka tsenela kontraka efe kapa efe ka baka la go ba le bothata ba kgopolo. Ka molato wa botlhano ke molato wa bomedi mo go lafatwa wa go trade
I realize that all actions are and the charges were clearly right out by the state for the accused to be appraised of the charges used. May I find out from the defense, seeing that the interpreter is just reading the charges that has already been read by the state, whether we should still allow indicate that the interpreter should proceed interpreting as they are, or whether you will be in a position to explain their issues, or have you explained them the charges that they are facing.
Because places where we have explained to the accused during consultation this morning after we have been favored with the additional charges. We had the discussion.
So what is your view? Should the interpreter proceed to interpret all of them, save for the public prosecutor has already given the details of the charges he's accused?
Your Worship, it might not be for the accused, but it might be for the gallant. But the accused, they know what they are facing.
Thank you. Then, Mr. Interpreter, proceed with the interpretation.
Molato wa botlhano ke molato wa bomenetša mo e leng molafatwa wa raisetša Rachel Kutume Shokane gore ka letsatsi kgwedi la di-15 tsa Julae 2019 ana mo polokwane o ba gabotse polokwane sebetseng sa Capricorn molafatwa kgatlhanong le molao ka bofora maikemišetšo e go menetša Africa o ile a tsentšha kopelo ya gore yena o na le maloka a o ka bulela Naval Mahatu Kutumela policy ya lepo kabu bakala manager wo adela wo asupo I ule policy ya lepo le ka tauga zela esbenia ha akimalisha yale kama mfelo leo ka lepo apa tulete kana 62,000 ya ranto kama número ya policy AL 19000001570175. Luego de cartas de la economía 2021, mulafatwa wile a ishawa umara tokoma kwa asuko ore yo nebel mahatu mula uko profetika mko mwa aswata a la tufata ore yo nebel mahatu mula vamos kulitia rapale today kata tila 20 ta April mwa 2021 asuko live ile ya Zenchaka accounting ya Raisita Arshukani ya APSA charity ya ulikana 124,000 ya dirani kao yao ya wa asupport da tele charity ya ulikana 124,000 ya dirani moi dumori kana kwe mwana tufajwa a dirabu furabu ube atiba kapu ziwori neti be ashala la policier maike msheto abe ibele o dirabo mola mo abularo ore yena kone uwela ichelete ngori ipatla gabi le musu ako fetikatsi la SB ya ka mola tua u 13 ke mola tua bularo moi mo bala fatoka muka bala fatoka muka kula fatore ka leta tipe la duanta aga mwa 2021 anakuwa wa kaushi ndio mwa mtu silitin sakelo bala fatwa fatana nimula wa ile kama kemishi tuwa ile watola de kula mahari Ephraim Chushi mutwa tena kumuru kabala mtu tisiri ndio ngahabo kula oye ireribe bilika dirwa ibile bala fatwa wa ile kama kemishi ati mo latwa ufuti wa umeneja mu ulafatwa Raisita Richard Kutumachuka wakala tatupe ndani kuzi njame mwaki wat anamukuru kwa nuwa kaushide kwa silitinsa kepuso mo latwa kata mmola ka tira ya ufura maikisi to ile umeneja standard uile Ariana unalema luka au ka una tuwachela polisi ya Buruko atela mapari Ephraim Chushi kama furabu bagade adira wole standard si bule polisi ya Buruko atumalisha vale ka mfeno rushanti ulifera chelete ainoshi ukatara babu la polisi ya chelete ulika 100,000 kafasika nomoro ya F2N0018823811 kalita tilati 12 ta August 2021 mola fatwa abumelo baisha kwa standard ori mapara Ephraim Chushi uko profit katila islinga ya virabori ba mkwente baleti strategy Standard Bank kawo yalo ya tencha cheleke ya olengana 200,000 ya diranta kara account ya Raisita Arshukani ya Standard Bank kawo yalo Standard Bank sala kaya cheleke ya olengana 200,000 moi mo mara fatwa sala dra kufura wate wa neti ashala abula polisi ya kulu maikebishetu arabe ibe ile mudira mara fatwa abula ore na kone uka oye manatua kufiki wa women chaula fatwa rais chari chetu tunashukana mo la fatwa ore na kwa tatimu pedi elani 1 September 2017 ifelo even kulikuwa no wakati kwa silimu sakefu namla fatwa kata namla kaufura maikemishe tuwe women chaula life insurance o ye a re yena o na le maloka o ka tseela maphare Ephraim Thusi policy ya poloko ka lebaka la bofora ba gagwe a dira gore all life insurance e bule policy ya tšhelete ya o lekana 75,000 ya diranta a ke ngwadisa bjale ya motho e ngwe o tshwanetse o lefelwa yena tšhelete e o ka tlhaga nomoro ya policy be le 14169576 ka di-5 January 2021 a romela ba ešha dikokomane go a gona life insurance a bega gore yo maphare Ephraim Thusi o tlhokofetse ka tsela e sebeng ya tlhago ka gore ba mo goditse a rapaletša kule strategy ka di-12 tša August 2021 ke ge Holland e tsentšha tšhelete ya go lekana 980,309 accountong ya Raisitša R Chokan ya Capitec ka gore yalo ba latlhegelwa ke tšhelete yengwe ba Holland mo e leng gore molafatšwa ge a šala a dira boforago o be a tseba gore nnete yena o bula policy ya poloko maikemišetšo e le go netefatša gore molafatšwa mohu wa bolawa gore yena a kgona go boela molato wa bo 16 wa bolawa mo e leng gore ba lafatšwa ka moka ba lafatšwa ka molato mo lafatšwa go ka letšatši ka 14 September 2022 ana kwa motse wa motho ba kgauswi motsuwe magofe seleteng sa Capricorn ba lafatšwa kgatlhanong le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba tlhotše Lekgola Jacob Petros ya Kamela motho wa senna wa mogolo lefapha la botšhotšhisi le tlhomama gore polao ye pele e dirwa e rerilwe ebile ba lafatšwa be ba e dira ka maikemišetšo a tiro molato wa bosebetsi o lafatšwa Raisitša Rachel Shokane gore yena o be a nyaka go kgona go šitiša tsamaiso ba tshepedišo ya tuka mo o lafatšwa gore ka letšatši kgwedi la di 14 tša September 2022 kwa Magofe kgauswi goba motseng wa Mbutung seleteng sa Capricorn molafatšwa kgatlhanong le molao ebile maikemišetšo e le go šitiša tuka wa tsamaiso ya tuka o ile a tšea setopo sa mohu Jacob Petros ya Kamela a se beya lefelong la go latlhelwa bona ditlakana ka go dira bjalo ya ba go šitiša tsamaiso ya tuka o phethela molato wa bo 18 kwa bomenetša o lafatšwa Raisitša Rachel Shokane ka ona molato mo o lafatšwa ka letšatši kgwedi la 28 2022 ana mokolokwane wa gašokolokwane seleteng sa Capricorn molafatšwa kgatlhanong le molao ebile ka bofora maikemišetšo e le go manetša FNB life gore ke yena Masepe Damaris Lebe ka gore yalo a tsentšha kgopelo ya go bulelwa policy ya lekgole le ka mekgwa o sebeng wa tlhago ka baka la bofora go ya dira FNB e bule policy ya lefu la go sebela tlhago bophelong ba David Siakame a ikemišeditše go ka boelwa ke tšhelete ya go lekana 1,500,000 ya diranta policy e bue nomoro le CP 30024316 ka tšatši la 28 tša September 2022 o ile a iša wa romela ditokomane kwa FNB live gore yo David Siakame o tlhokofetse ka mokgwa e leng gore a se wa tlhago a bega gore yo David Siakame ba mo kgoditše ka kgwedi a rapaletse strategy e fela FNB ya gana go patela kgopelo ya gage nka be ba patele be ba tla ba ile ba latlhegelwa ditšhelete ya go lekana 1,500,000 ya diranta mo e leng gore molafatšwa a šala a dira boforago o ba tseba gore nnete a se yena Damaris select ebile maikemišetšo e be e le go mohu David Sekano a bolawe gore yena a kgone go boelwa ke tšhelete go tswa go policy eo. Molato wa go 19 kwa bolao mo e leng gore balatfatšwa ka moka ba le ba bararo ba latfatšwa ka molato go latfatšwa gore ka tšatši kgwedi la di 13 April ngwa 2024 a napa motho ba kgaosesetšeng sa capital balatfatšwa kgatlanong le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba tlhola lefu la Pretty Martin Mutata motho wa senna o mogolo lefapha la botšhotšhisi le nganga gore polao ye e rerilwe pele e ka dirwa ebile balatfatšwa be ba dira se ka maikemišetšo a teng. Molato wa 20 o latfatšwa molatfatšwa wa bobedi wa boraro ka wona ke molato wa go šomiša wa mogela wa hwetšwa go na le thutobaphatla e leng gore e tšwa go mediro ya go se be molao go latfatšwa gore ana kwa nakong wa matšatšing a di-30 ya go 31 tsa October ngwa 2019 anamo bolokwane wa gasobolokwane seleteng sa kepo balatfatšwa kgatlanong le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba šomiša goba ba tšwara thutu baphatla ye e leng gore be ba tseba gabotse wa be ba tshwanetse ba ba tseba gore e tšwa go mediro ya bosenyi e beng tšhelete ya go lekana 100,000 ya diranta. Lefapha la botšhotšhisi go mangaka la gore ka dinako ka moka balatfatšwa ge ba dira se be ba se dira go phethagatša morero o tee. Molato wa 21 ke molato wa go leka go kgotšiša tšhelete ye e leng gore e hweditšwe ka tsela ya go se be molaong mo go latfatšwa gore ka nako ya matšatšing a di ya go 31 tša October ngwa 2019 mo Polokwane goba kgauswi le Polokwane seleteng sa kepo balatfatšwa ka moka ba le ba bararo ba dirile kgatlanong le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba tseba gabotse ba dira se be ba tšweletša pele morero o motseng. Molato wa 24 ke molato wa morero o šomiša le go hwetšwa ba swere phatlo e leng gore e tšwa go mediro ya bosenyi mo o latfatšwa gore ka di-13 tša October ngwa 2022 gana mo Polokwane seleteng sa kepo balatfatšwa kgatlanong le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba amogela go šomiša buša ba swara phatlo e beng tšhelete ya go lekana 60,000 ya diranta. Ba tseba gabotse wa ba tshwanetse ba ba tseba gore tšhelete e tšwa go mediro ya bosenyi. Lefapha la botšhotšhisi le komama gore ka dinako ka moka balatfatšwa e ba dira se be ba tšweletša morero o motsei pele. Molato wa 25 ke molato mo e leng gore balatfatšwa ka moka balatfatšwa ka moka wa go leka tšhelete e leng gore e hweditšwe ka tsela ya go se be molaong go latfatšwa ka di-13 tša October ngwa 2022 ana mo Polokwane seleteng sa kepo balatfatšwa kgatlanong le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba tseba gabotse wa ba tshwanetse ba ba tseba gore tšhelete ya go lekana 200,000 ya diranta ke karolo ya mediro ya bosenyi e beng bomenetša mo e leng gore molatfatšwa wa mathomo ka diripa-ripa o ile a tšea tšhelete ye a e lokela ba e romela ka di-accountong tša tše dingwe tša dibanka go tswa mo a e lokela go e romela di-accountong tša dibanka tša molatfatšwa wa bobedi wa boraro. Tšhelete ka mokana bona ba latfatšwa ba išomišitse go reka dintšha ba ka go dira bjalo ba thuša wa ba kgontšha molatfatšo wa mathomo tšhelete e leng gore e kgweditšwe ka baka la go dirwa ga bosenyi ba bomenetši lefapha la botšhotšhisi le tlo nganga gore ka dinako ka moka balatfatšwa e ba dira se be ba phethagatša morero o tee molato wa 26 ke molato wa polao mo e leng gore balatfatšwa ka moka ba latfatšwa ka bosenyi o latfatšwa gore ka letsatsi 24 tša May wa 2019 a nako a Forgeville goba tseleng ya Forgeville e beng Sebokeng seletšeng sa Sedibeng ba latfatšwa kgahlano le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba tshwana lefu la Freedom Raiders motho wa senna o mogolo lefapha la botšhotšhisi le tlo nganga gore polao ya mohu e rerilwe pele e ka dirwa ebile balatfatšwa be ba dira se ka morero o tee molato wa bo 27 ke molato wa bomenetša mo e leng gore o latfatšwa ana raesitša sokane fela ka bona bosenyi o latfatšwa gore ka letšatši la 19 tša March ngwaga wa 2019 a nako a Sebokeng wa kgauswi le Sebokeng seleteng sa Sedibeng molatfatšwa kgahlano le molao ka mokgwa o fula maikemišetšo e le go menetša FNB Live o ile a re ke yena molekane wa Freedom Raiders ka gore jalo a dira gore FNB Live e bule policy ya lefu le ka tlhago ka tsela e sebeng ya tlhago ya tšhelete ya go lekana 1,500,000 ya diranta ka fase ya nomoro CP 30012617 ka tšatši la 27 tša May ngwaga 2019 yena molatfatšwa ana raesitša sokane o ile a iša gore o na le ditokomane kwa FNB Live gore yena bjale ka molekane wa Freedom Raiders a patelwe tšhelete go ya le ka polisi eo efela FNB ile ya gana e a etšeditše mo e leng gore e nkabe ba dumetše ba tlabe ba ile ba latlhegelwa ke tšhelete le e ka lekanago 1,500,000 ya diranta mo e leng gore molatfatšwa a šala dira bofura go ba tseba gore nneteng a se ena molekane wa Freedom Raiders ebile a se ba nyalana e ka ba ka sedi goba ka mokgwa o mongwe molato wa bo 28 kwa bomenetša mo e leng gore o latfatšwa ana raesitša sokane ka gona o latfatšwa ka tšatši la dithuto tša 8 ana kwa Sebokeng wa kgauswi le Sebokeng seleteng sa Sedibeng o latfatšwa kgahlano le molao ka tsela ya bofura maikemišetšo e le go menetša Old Mutual e leng kampane ya di-insurance o boletše gore ke ena molekane wa Freedom Raiders ka gore jalo a dira gore Old Mutual e bule policy ya lefu le lekakang ka tsela tše e gore a se tša tlhago ya tšhelete ya go lekane 1 million ya diranta ka fase ka nomoro ya 1864708 ka tšatši la 27 tša May ngwaga 2019 o la tsetša goba romela ditokomane kwa Old Mutual a bega gore yena bjale ka molekane wa Freedom Raiders a patelwe tšhelete e fela Old Mutual ile ya ganana le kgopelo ya etšeditše mo e leng gore nkabe ba ile ba dumela be ba tlabe ba ile ba latlhegelwa ke tšhelete ya lekana 1 million ya diranta mo e leng gore molatfatšwa a šala dira bofura o ba tseba gore nnete a se yena molekane wa Freedom Raiders ebile yena le Freedom Raiders a ba nyalana molato wa bo 29 usala tufatwa na anaraisha shukana inushi ka muratu mola tufatwa wakati adiladi wanta ikoni 119 na nafasi uke splitting sas ndi mola tufatwa kata mula kama kwa mfura maikemishi tuilu umenita hola tai ule kutabula kena moleka mwatu kubrita unyanga mwashita police saying one serious account all that life in bullet police ya the kudele kata kama kwa wale mwale siwata ya chele dola kama 75,000 ya bank hapa sera nomero ya 15145045 that is 7 time May 2019 ule rumelo wa isha kikubwa kwa hola ave labor ya nabe alikamu likani wa freedom riders who profit kama kosi mwaka tau dravian adira wala life ipate le chelete ya wale 75,000 tare account ya yena ana raisija shuka chelete hii kwa kitika 25 July 2019 kao real wala life ya la chelete kiwa na chelete ya 75,000 ranta ya ranta kaba kalamu mwezi mmoja mwanatoa rea sharaka mfura kwanza bakabu bonde asia na mole kwa mwezi mmoja ibile akili ikela mlatu kwa date there are no number to try to go unajua update di melakukan lumar barat sejoka berapa mana balas sejoka menabur ka jadwal 27 tadi kwa kata jadwal 27 tadi ya wiki jadwal 6 Julai 2019 na kwa dekisa kebo barat sejoka kata mtemu la ile kama nchi watu wakabu washoki watu walichere pesa kana 174,929.95 ya senti. Hii icheleta wakarugo watabuta kusini wadoteli ngoli medero ngoli ai mona wo ibe ngoli meneta moi ngoli mona fatwa bubi wide kadi ripari dinya tiacheleti ai lokelo wa kumela di account dai ke di mutan bank utuamu ai kumela kare di account dai bank jamula fatwa machomo lo abra moi ngori kama kabala fatwa baba ile wa shumisha chele tele wala kan to papa kawa yalo ba fanya sawa watu shamula fatwa machomo chele tele ngori ikwelitwe ta ule bagalao kwa usini babu mene ye fabola mutu sitonga ngalo bala toba eba shala badira busini bo kalina bukamuka beba peleta maikemishi tu wa marero oti mnatua bu de siwan mnatua kula mo go lafatswa gore ka letsatsi kgwedi la di-6 June 2020 ana kwa wa Gauteng le motho wa Matlekere King seleteng sa Sekhukhune ba lafatswa kgakana le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba thola Lekgola Gordon Orateng Sipho motho wa senna o mogolo o lefapha la bothusi le tlhomama gore polao ye ya mokgo e rerilwe ebile ba lafatswa be ba dira se ka morero o teng molato wa botedi 2 wa polao lona mo o lafatswa gore ka tšatši la di 17 tša Mei 2013 ana kwa wa Gauteng le wa Gompo le sa tšhepo mo lafatswa kgakana le molao le ka maikemišetšo ba ile ba thola Lekgola Makgare motho wa senna o mogolo lefapha la bothusi le tlhomama polao ye ya mokgo e rerilwe e ka dirwa ebile ba lafatswa be ba dira se ka morero wa maikemišetšo a tiro.
The state was giving the details of the charges which you are facing for purposes of bail application.
Lefapha la botšhotšhisi se ne ba se dira e be le go tšweletša ka botlalo ditatofatšo tše lena le latlhotlho ka tšona.
It was not for purposes of trial on the merits of the charges.
Se be ba se direla bakeng la kgopelo ya go lokolwa ka pelwa ya go dumelelwa ke kgoro go seka molato le le ka ntle e sebeng gore molato wa sekwa ganea.
Further, the state has indicated that all accused are facing Schedule 6 offense.
Go tšwela pele mo lefapha la botšhotšhisi le bontšhitše gore melato ye le latofatswago ka yona e dira gore kgopelo e ya lena ya beile e wele ka legorong la botshela.
And therefore, before your defense counsel can take you through bail application, the court has to inform you of the provision of Section 60, subsection 11A of the Criminal Procedure Act as amended.
Ka gore yalo pele go tšwela pele kgoro e tshwanetse le tsebiše se karolo ya bo 60 motho wa bo 11 e se bolelago ke go tšwa molaong wa go laola tshepedišo ya tsheko ya melato ya bosenyi.
In other words, in this application for bail, the court must be convinced that there are exceptional circumstances that apply to you all accused, and which, if proven, perhaps the accused may be entitled to bail.
Se ra gore pele kgoro e ka fitlhelela sephetho sa gore e ka lokolla balatofatswa go seka molato wa e ka ntle ka pele o tshwanetse o ba o ile a tšweletšwa mabaka a e leng gore a ikgetše a kgoro e ka bonang a kgatlha toka gore le ka lokollwa la seka molato leno.
In other words, the onus is on you to prove that indeed there are exceptional circumstances, which if considered by this court, you may be granted.
Ka gore ya maikarabelo a mo go lena go bontšha kgoro ye gore ka nnete go na le mabaka ao a ikgethilego a e leng gore a ka kgatlha toka gore lena le feleletse le dumelelwa go seka molato leno.
And in order to prove those exceptional circumstances, you have the right to give the evidence under oath, after which you may as well call witnesses to come and give evidence for them.
Ka gore ya o tsentšha kgopelo ya lena le na le tokelo ya go ka dira seo ka o ya ka lepokising la go fa bohlatse mo e leng gore le tlo ikana ka morago le lerata le ka no bitsa le ditlhatsi gore le bona ba tle ba tlo bohlatse go thekga kgopelo ya lena ya go.
You are further informed that if you elect to give evidence under oath, You may be subject to cross-examination by the state, and the court will ask some few questions.
le a tsebishwa gape gore le ka kgetha go ya ka lekoksing la go fa botlhatsi la fa botlhatsi le le ka gona ka morago wa ikana lefapha la botšhotšhisi le tlo fiwa sebaka sa go le bokiša dipotšišo le gobane dipotšišo mabapi le se le karone sebeledi le kgoro le yona e ka no botšiša ge e bona go na le tlhokego.
You may also call witnesses to come and give evidence on your behalf on this day.
Le ka no bitsa le ditlhatsi gore di tle di fe botlhatsi ka tong la lena kgopelong ye ya bolokolo ba dikgoro.
And such witnesses, if they testify still, they may be subjected to cross-examination by the state, and the court may as well ask questions.
Ditlhatsi tše bue le ka di bitsa le tšona ka morago ga go fa botlhatsi di ka no botšišwa dipotšišo ke lefapha la botšhotšhisi go ba kgoro.
And further, you are advised that instead of testifying under oath or orally, as you are legally represented, the defense counsel may prepare affidavit in support of your bail application.
Le tsebišwa gape gore le ka no kgetha go tšweletša kgopelo ya lena ka go se fe botlhatsi la ka ge le na le baemedi ba moemedi moemedi a le thuša go gatiša affidavit e leng gore e tlabe e le yona ye thekgago kgopelo ya lena ya go lokotlwa ka pele.
Even thus, if you elect to hand in court affidavit in support of your bail application, you still have the right to call witnesses to come and testify.
Le ga le ka kgetha gore lena a le tlo fa botlhatsi ka bo lena le tlo tseditša kgopelo ka mokgwa wa go gatiša affidavit e mo le tlo fiwa kgoro ka morago wa moo le ka no bitsa ditlhatsi gore di tle le tsona di fe botlhatsi ba go thekga kgopelo ya lena.
You are further advised that if you elect to testify under oath and you make admissions in a bail application, and this admission relates to the main trial that is likely going to be preferred against you, arising from the charges that have been preferred by the state, such an admission may be used in the trial of the merits of the charges.
Ntho mo le tsebišwa mona shi gore ye le ka kgetha go fa botlhatsi le fa botlhatsi a ba le tše le ditumelago tša go tsamaelana le ditatofatšo tše le latfatšwago ka tšona gore a ba le ditatofatšo tše dingwe tše gore la ditumela seo se ka tla sa šomišwa kgahlanong le lena mohlang molato ya tshepo.
Now, do you understand the explanation that I've given to yourself to start with accused number one?
Tlhaloso ye ke le fileng yona le a e kwešiša re tla araba go thoma ka molaotlhomo wa mathomo. Yes, I understand.
Accused number two?
Molaotlhomo wa bobedi. Yes, I understand.
Accused number three?
Molaotlhomo wa boraro. Yes, I understand.
Thank you. State?
Your Supervisor has already indicated we are opposed and we are ready to proceed.
Advocate Patuni, accused may be seated in the meantime.
Le ka mola fatshe motšhotšhisi o šeletša gape go botsa kgoro gore bjale ka lefapha la mmušo la botšhotšhisi ba kgahlanong le go lokolwa ga lena ka pele re ka no tšwela pele ka gore bona ba loketse go tšwela pele.
As the court places your worship, we are ready to proceed with the bail application in section 60. Then it's included by the worship. And by doing so, we'll proceed by way of evidence being reported. The purpose being that the court should have regard to understand the veracity of the charges that have been brought, and we discussed the same with the accused. And your worship, just number one, I have approached the court.
Advocate Patuni, bjale ka moemedi wa balatona gore le bona ba loketse go ka tšwela pele ka kgopelo ye ya go lokolwa ga balatona ba go seka molato ba ikantse ba tlo dira bjalo ka gore batšwa wa ba dira kgopelo ba tsene ka lepokising la go fa botlhatsi ba fe botlhatsi ka bo bona gore ba tsheke kgopelo ya bona ya bophelo ka pele tlhaloso eue ba e file le balathobatšwa ba thušiše ba nyaka gore kgoro ge o lebeletse melato e se kgona go ba le thušišo gabotse ka ditaba.
State, the court will look as well serve as a timekeeper, where you realize there is a need for the judgment or reliable.
We'll keep the time for the court to the court pieces.
Defense, you can always.
As the court pleases.
Thank you. Witness, what are your full names?
Kudumela Raisija Rachel.
Do you have any objection to taking a prescribed oath?
No objection.
Will the prescribed oath bind you at your conscience? If you have no objection, raise up your right hand and swear so help you The witness is duly sworn in.
Court pleases your worship. Rachel, can you confirm that you are resident at 508 Chide at Amatala according to the charge sheet that has been read before this? 508 Chide Amatala, yes.
Number 508 Glow. Glow, Amatlan.
It's number 508 Glow, Amatan.
And that you are a South African citizen, is that correct?
No, we're now Africa.
Eh.
And how old are you?
43.
I'm 43.
And are you married?
Yes, I am.
And when did that marriage take place?
Yes, 2020 August. Like Saleshoga date.
It was on, in 2020, the August month. I'm not certain of the exact day.
Which year? Okay, that's the month.
2020.
The year 2020.
And in that marriage relationship, how many children were born out of that?
Usually, Nalungi, Banawa, Preju, Babakai. Ubelu, Banawa, Gail, usually Nalunga.
I don't understand.
Are you referring to all my children or the children that were born out of the
all the children?
I have 5 children.
And their age?
Mama told me 27 like 1 year. Already 12 for Mishimane. 12 Kimishimane. Our runa letter 1 year. Wawane only 8 1 year. Wama fellow na letter Mishiman.
The first born child is 27 years old and female. The second one is 12 years old and it's a boy, male. The third one is 10 years old, a female girl. The fourth one is 8 years old, a female girl. The third one is The last one, the fifth one, is 3 years old and is a boy or a male person.
And the 27-year-old, I might be correct if I say is the accused number 3 in this matter.
Oh, one more 27. The Kavakula laminate to carry here and Amala for Zawara.
Net.
That is correct.
And is it also a common cause that you were employed as a police sergeant? That's number one.
King trade, yeah, it's very English. Worry over who to be a police sergeant, Camus Province Africa, who Shumela Bashmama.
Hey, Joan.
That is so.
Can you tell this court which year or in which year you did pass out as a policeman?
Ukaru Kutawari na, I think the name Quata from Yawa police.
The passed out 2006 December.
In the month of December 2006.
And you went straight to Navarone as a policeman?
Utuamu we now where she was
Awa.
no.
Can you tell the court your movements up until you reached Navarone?
Well, Uka Sipula Uka must say Wafitela Ukipeta or this Nova.
Kezeneje Polokwane ka 2007 ka dia field training and probation. 2008 field training and probation.
I started at Polokwane in the year 2007 where I was doing field training and induction.
2008 Gamuvela SAPS Matala as my permanent station.
In 2008 I moved to SAPS Matala. This was to be my permanent station.
2023 Gamuvela Snovarwana ka cross transfer.
In 2023 I moved to Sinovarwana as a result of the cross transfer.
And where you were arrested at the moment?
Yes,
I was arrested while at
And you wrote a valid South African ID, is that correct?
Unale pasa ya mono Africa buwa ye lumori ye mulawu.
Kenalio.
Yes.
Do you have a passport?
Unale passport.
Awa.
No.
And do you have relatives outside the borders of South Africa?
Ana unale miluku ya renu ye lumori ye kwejala kante la milwane Africa buwa.
Awa.
No.
And do you have a private fire?
Unale Strunya says when Sao is doing some merit.
Awa.
No.
Fine, let's go to the issue of the investigation and the charges upon you. And I hope it's common cause that you had the public prosecutor when you raised the charges before you, is that correct?
Well, are you in Jamila Kayo? Tepa already. What's there already? We can away to see our land that for the whole of the
Can you tell this court when did you first know or discover that you are being investigated by the police?
Uga Rudana, no, Utumile or Lemurane, worry, Mapolisa, Ona Sebastian Shao, Kawe.
le lo re nka se be accurate ka di-date le dikgwedi mara nka estimate.
Even though I may not be accurate in terms of dates, months, but I can estimate.
To estimate.
Very estimate.
Ke thomile go tseba ka around February this year.
I started knowing around February this year.
Ke kry-a call from Sergeant Mabula.
Mabula.
Sergeant Mabula, investigating officer ko SAPS Matlala.
Okay. This was when I received a call from Sergeant Mabula, who is an investigating officer attached to Matala.
Ibile IO mo case ya Naval Kutumela.
He was also the investigating officer in the case of Naval Kutumela.
Well, oro be anthusha ka di document tše ba di insurance ba be ba di nyaka.
He is the one who was assisting me with the documents that were required by the insurance.
Umfone jampucha gore na le batho ba Absa re berekile jwang.
He called or contacted me and asked me what me and the Absa people are doing or how are we doing.
Ka mmoja gore a zanga ba patela ba rile claim e tšerwiswe for further investigation.
And I told him that they did not pay the claim. They said that the claim has been referred or sent for further investigation.
Arana re ke humana call from Captain Ngobeni.
He then said to me, I received a call from Captain Ngobeni.
Organized crime.
From organized crime.
O khira gore na why docket e tswaletše as inquest.
They said Captain Ngobeni is querying why the docket was closed as written.
Ara se I further into details o rile ba kopane go Aspag a ke tsona Aspag ranke.
He did not go, he said he did not go into further details. He just said they must meet at Aspag. I don't know what Aspag is.
And then ya fella mo wa zanga bo ya go nna ka feedback.
The matter ended there. He did not come back to me with feedback.
Le nna ka itogela.
I left it as.
Then go humola around June ngwagane wa 2024.
It was quiet from there onwards. Then around June this year.
Mara ka tseba gore investigation ya Absa e na le maphodisa ka mogare.
However, I then knew or realized that it means the Absa investigation also involves the police.
And then go moje wa ba June this year.
Things were quiet until June this year.
And then I got a call from lady Mangaka lady.
I received a call from Mangaka.
Ke Butianuku.
He's Nuku's brother.
Proceed.
Ampuja gore o khumane call ba re gona le batho ba batang ba monyaka.
He told me that he received a call. He was told that there are people who come looking for him.
Ampuja gore o ba emetse o ta kwa gore ba nyaka eng ba motse gore ke batho ba Absa.
He told me that he will wait and hear what they want. He also told me that these are people from Absa.
And then later on we are going to feedback.
Later he came back to me with feedback.
Ampuja gore batho ba le ba fithile.
He told me that those people came.
E be le batho ba Absa ba na le maphodisa.
There were people from Absa together with the police.
Ba botšhia ka lekgola noko.
They were asking about the death of Nuku.
Mara ena le bona a se ba fetse ga botse.
He said, however, himself and them did not end things well.
Because ba be ba mo channela ba nyaka ba araba ka mokgo bona ba nyakang ka gona.
And because they were channeling him, they wanted him to respond the way they wanted him to.
Ena
If I may interject, I want to find out as to whether the APSA forensic department and the police, do you know those police who attend or who met with Marcus Parada?
Well, ingawa zinangana but waba APSA baonyakishisha le mapolisa wa waziba mapolisa.
o rile a se a kgone go tshwara maina a bona.
He said he was unable to trust their name.
And can you sometimes tell this court it was during which month? July, June?
E be le ka
Ugaru uchawana chanaje belitra la predicted.
e be le ka June this year.
It was in June this year.
And the proceeds?
That's what
And then a re o ba referetse gae
he then said he referred them home
ko extension 71.
at extension 71.
A re batla khumana batho ana mola maybe ba ka kgona go ba araba.
And he told those people that they will find people there, maybe those people will answer them.
And then later ka khumana call go tswa go Mpho.
Later I received a call from Mpo.
Ke yang sister wa Sydney.
Mpo is the younger sister of Sydney.
Ampa ja gore se se re itšhele ke bile le baeng mo mosegareng.
She told me that Sister Rachel, I had visitors in the afternoon.
Ba rile ba tswa from the insurance company ba tsamaya le maphodisa.
They said they are coming from insurance companies. They were in the company of the group.
Ba nyaka tseba gore na since noko a thokofala maphodisa a ile ata ka mo gae ba butša gore na go diega eng go ba gona le maphodisa a ile ata ba ba update ka case gore na case e tsamaya ka ena.
She said that they asked whether since the death of Nambu occurred, did the police ever come to the home to inquire about other things or to update the family?
A ba botša gore gona maphodisa a ile ata.
She told them that no police came.
Gore ba mmotšea ka ngwana gore na noko be a na le ngwana na.
She further said that they asked about the child. They asked whether Nambu had a child.
A ba araba gore ngwana o gona.
She responded by saying yes, there is a child.
A re fera go accused number 3 e leng firstborn yaka.
She was referring to accused number 3, who is my firstborn.
Gore ba ba botša gore na bophelo bo buang between bona.
She then said that they asked how is life or relations between them.
Then a ba ba botša gore ba phela is normal ka jalo ka ragadi le ngwana a buti e no ba bophelo a gona anything ye special.
She responded by saying they have a normal relationship. There is nothing special. They have an aunt, paternal aunt, and niece or nephew relationship.
A ba ba botša ba mmotša gore re ilo tsoša case ela ya noko o na le ka mokgwa e le gore a re kgotsofale ka gona.
They then told her that we are going to resuscitate, to reinstate that case of Nuku. There is something we are not satisfied with.
Nna ka thong ya ka ya ba go tlika re taba ba old mutual ka gore a zanga ba patela police le bona ba mpotše gore ba sale under the investigation.
In my mind, I then concluded that it might be the old mutual people because they are the ones who did not pay. They also said that they are still investigating.
Go a homola.
Things went quiet.
Yeah, around August this year.
Around August this year,
Ka humana call from stationing.
I received a call from the station.
HR ba mpotša gore na le Colonel Mameja.
The HR people told me that there is one Colonel Mame
wa nyaka
who's looking for me.
ba nromela number ka WhatsApp
They then sent me his number via WhatsApp.
ba mpotsa gore o tswa provincial office
They told me that he or she is from the provincial office.
ka lona tšatši leue ka mo founela Colonel Mamecha
The very same day I called Colonel Mame.
ba mpotsa gore ba be ba le stationeng ba sepetse stationeng ba motseng wa ka ba nyaka
They told me that they were at the station, they had left the station and are at my home. They are looking for me.
lebaka ke gore go na le inquiry e le gore e butswe ka lekgo la Joyce Malesa
They then told me that the reason they are looking for me because there is an inquiry that was opened in relation to the death of Joyce Malesa.
bona ba eta ba tša di-statement gore ba kgona go complete that inquiry a se bona investigating officer
So what they are doing is gathering statements so that they can close the inquiry. They are not the investigating.
ke be ke se mmerekong ebile ke se gona around ke be ke le Pretoria
I was not at work and I was also not around my home. I was in Pretoria.
ka bolela le bona ge ke gopola go tsebe le Friday ke tsena Saturday fro
I spoke to them. When I recall well, it was a Friday and I was to report on duty on Saturday morning.
ra kwana gore re ta communicata letšatši la go bonana ka phone mara ka ba botsa gore ka Saturday ke ya mmerekong ge e le gore ba palela ke Saturday Monday ke mid off ba kata
We then agreed that we will communicate this to the day we will be able to meet. However, they must know that tomorrow, which is Saturday, I will be at work. If they cannot make it to my work place on Saturday, on Monday, I'll be off duty. They can come.
and then ke ile mmereko ka Saturday
I went to work on Saturday.
ka posiwa gore ko berekela ka monte
I was posted to work in the field.
Very
out
good.
of the office.
okay before ke ya mowe the same day ye ke boletse le bo Colonel Mamecha ke receivile call from Sergeant Molopa
Sergeant Molopa.
Molopa
Uh,
the same Friday
The same day, which was a Friday, the day on which I spoke to Colonel Mamecha, I also received a call from Sergeant Muluba.
arana re Sergeant ke kry-ile call from Captain Mabunda
She told me that Sergeant, I received a call from Captain Mabunda.
o inquire ka seniela ke ile ka go felesetša ya lokama mokhukhu o iswa
He is inquiring about the scene or incident in which I accompanied you at Lukam, where a check was paid.
a re Captain Mabunda o re maphodisa a sešego a re a se a mmone Molopa ko sening
She said, he or she said that Captain Mabunda says the Seshego police are saying they did not see Sergeant Mulupa at the scene.
so Sergeant Molopa tshwantse a fe Captain Mabunda statement sa gore nna ke motogetše kae ge ke ya sening ko Lokama
As such, Sergeant Mulupa must make a statement stating where I left Sergeant Mulupa when I went to the scene at Lukam.
Sergeant Molopa mpotsa re ena le Captain Mabunda ba palelane ka taba ya statement ka gore yena o sepetse le nna from station go ya sening go ba boela mmerekong
And he or she then said himself or herself, Sergeant Mulupa and Captain Mabunda ended up not agreeing on things because Sergeant Mulupa told Captain Mabunda that I left with he or she left with me in the scene at Fukam.
Yes, if I may interject, I just wanted us to leave it there and deal with the issues or the steps relating to the knowledge that you are being investigated from February. We will deal with that aspect at the time when we deal with each and every count that you are alleged to have been.
Dari kinagare traweri kuela na mwani dari dari. Kinaga regular kata rao kumbo tuani ka tatuwa ka wani. Tewu diri mwe lokagare di fata mutanga regular kamula tu oti.
Fast forward, then when again were you visited by the police, if I may say?
Lugar do now, kini mu William White ma police.
Ke grele visit ya Colonel Mamecha ka the same Saturday. Ke boletsele na Friday.
I was visited by Colonel Mamecha the same Saturday after the Friday I had spoken to him on.
Earlier the station 10 relief commander Ambojarona lebaing from province Banyaka Umpon.
When we were doing station 10, the relief commander told me that there are officials from the province, they want to see me.
Aba feel safe regular list tunya. Okupela ke mo first tunya.
They do not feel safe if I am armed or possessing a firearm. As such, the relief commander is requested that I give him the firearm.
Ke ba dile di bullet ka be ya tunya safe ka mo fa sona anjang henda to officer lo ba le Colonel Mamecha.
I counted the bullets and took the firearm and gave it to him. He then took me and handed me over to the officials from the state.
Then Colonel Mamecha ba tswela pele ka statement sa bona wa ya le ka mokhonje ba mpuditse.
Colonel Mamecha proceeded with his statement the way he had told,
Ang henda bege to relief commander.
and then handed him back to the relief commander.
And then early maloba moka date ke tsena first day le judge le ke tshwereng ka lona gore ma
Just recently, when I was reporting on duty on my first day,
ke received a call from Sergeant Inchana. Sergeant Inchana
I received a call from Sergeant Inchana.
ampo ja gore ona le member mo stationing not in uniform mo ronyo go bona
What do you know?
not in uniform.
Oh, he or she then told me that there is a member here at the police station who is not in uniform, who says wants to see me.
Ka mo khopela ra a fe that member phone.
I then asked him to give that member the phone.
Arana re gena warrant of samashego jwa meden robbery.
He then told, he or she then told me that he or she is warrant officer, Masheo from the murder and robbery.
Ka gore ke be ke kwele gore ona le maphodisa etanga dia investigation jo kfuli ka rena ka rena o tlo ntshwara na.
Since I had heard that there are police officers who are investigating me, I then jokingly said, are you here to arrest me?
Arana ra wa kenya go bolela le wena.
The member then said, no, I just want to talk.
Then ya ba gore ke a mo tlhalosetsa gore ke tlo fitlhelela mere go but by 7:30 I will be there.
I then told that person that I will arrive at going to be late, but around 7:30 I will be there.
E ke mere go ngile ka mentality wa gore e sa le investigation.
When I went to work, I went there with the mentality that it is still investigation.
ke ka mokgwa o ke tsebileng ka ona gore ke a nyakišišwa.
That is how I became aware of knew that Amanda is.
Yes, can you now take us to the part of the portion of the arrest, how the arrest took place, and how sensational it was?
Ukarisha semana ya uswara na uswara uduleka mfama ulufikata.
Ka nnete ke fitlhile 7:30 ko stationeng.
Indeed, I arrived at the station at 7:30.
Ke fetša go phaka koloi o bo na le another colleague Sergeant Ramaphoko.
After parking the motor vehicle, there was another colleague, Sergeant Ramapu.
Ana le this lady a ke mo tsebe.
He or she was this lady unknown to.
Ge ba be ba tšere dikgang
They were conversing.
ka catch up a voice gore motho a bolelang le dipuo. Voice ya ge ke motho a be a mfounetse a mpotša gore o nkemetse mo stationeng.
As they were conversing, I then recognized the voice and realized that the person talking to the poor is the same person who was called.
Ka continue ka ya ka CSC.
I proceeded to the CSC.
Ka reporter go relief commander ke fitlhile mmerekong.
I reported to the relief commander that I have arrived with.
Relief commander a mfa dikhie tša disele.
The relief commander gave me the keys to the cell.
A re ke feletsetse one of the detective a yo ja suspect ka diseleng.
And he said I was accompanying one of the detectives to get a suspect from the cells.
O ya court.
The suspect is going to court.
Ka ra relief commander ka re no ba re go na le baeng mo stationeng ba nyaka.
I then said to the relief commander, I was informed that there are visitors here at the police station and they are looking.
A re ena se ba a tsebe selo.
He said he does not know any.
Ka procedela ka diseleng le detective Seema.
I proceeded to the cells with Detective Siema.
Detective Seema o tsene a ja suspect.
Detective Siema entered the cells and to the suspect.
And then re be re accompany a suspect to the CSC.
We were now accompanying the suspect to the CSC.
Ke be ke tswere maifa a mo ka gore ke be ke le ka mo ntena le ka mo gare. Ke be ke na le maifa a mo with me.
I was in possession of my firearm
Le di key tša disele.
and keys to the cell.
Ge ke approacha lebati la CSC ka suspect on my right. Ke bona go tšwelela batho ba babedi ba kitima.
As I was approaching the CSC and the suspect was on my right, I then saw two people approaching, running.
E be le batho ba banna.
They were male.
Ka tša gore ke ditsotsi di tlo ntšeela suspect.
I then took it that these are criminals, thieves that are there to take the suspect away.
Wa mathomong approach tša mphušetša leboteng.
The first one approached me and pushed me against the wall.
And then suspect ela ya tšwa through my right ka se bone gore o feletše kae.
That suspect left through my right. I did not see where the suspect ended.
Ola o mphušetša leboteng o grepa sethunya sa ka.
The one who pushed me against the wall grabbed my fire.
Because ke na le mind wa gore ke tšelwa suspect ka leka go iša letsogo ke re ke protector firearm.
Because I had the mind that a suspect is being taken away from me,
Ka leka go iša letsogo sethunyeng.
I tried to take my hand to the fire.
A mphušetša lebote gore a kry balance ya ka.
He pushed me against the wall so that he can get my back.
Ka mmotšiša gore na go diegang.
I then asked him what is going on.
A ra nna re o tshwerwe.
He then said you are arrested
A ntšha sethunya sela.
and took took that fire.
ga sa le busy ke theletše gore ke tshwere ya ba go ta o mongwe le yena not in uniform o ntšola kepisi.
Once I was busy trying to listen, another one also approached and took off my cap.
A ntšha le direnke,
And
di-rank structure.
also took off my rank
A mpotša gore you are no longer a police officer.
and told me that you are no longer a police.
And then ge o lantšha direnke o mo a nthena against the wall.
As that other one was taking off my rank structures, the other one turned me against the wall
Ba tšea dikhietšela tša di-cell
and took the cell keys
and then bang handcuff.
and kind of cuffed.
Ba bona team yane la ba lla ka space gore bona ba na space mo la ka gore di-camera di be di thoma go tsena ka kua ka bontšhi ke bona di-camera di thoma go tsena.
The team that was there was now complaining about not having enough space because cameras were now coming in. There were cameras.
And then ga ba director ko lebating la rena la di-cell la ka Senobarwane.
I then directed them to the door to the cells of our Senobarwane police.
And then ge ke sa eme gana mo labing handcuff ke le under their control ke go jwalela o mongwe le ena a se apare uniform.
When I was, once I was there, handcuffed and under their control, another one that was not in uniform also approached
A ra nna rena ke ya mo tseba wa ntseba na.
and asked me a question, do you know me?
A motša ke ra ke go tsebe.
I said, I don't know.
A re ke nna Captain Mabunda.
He said, I'm Captain Mabu.
A lifter Angsteleng from Twenja ya Pere mo molaleng.
He then took or lifted his appointment from the things he was wearing, or the clothes he was wearing,
A mpotša gore wa ntshwara.
and told me that he's arrested
A bala di-charge.
and read me the charges.
A mpotša gore o lebetše warrant of arrest ya ka ko koloing.
He told me that he forgot my the warrant of arrest issued against me in the car.
And then a ba mpalela di-rights.
He then read me my rights.
Ke ge ba mova crew ela ka moka ba re re ka nte.
That's when they moved the whole crew and said he must go outside.
Sa le ba just thunya nakwane ela ba se grepa. A ke tse gore na se thunya se feletše kae.
The firearm was since taken there that time when it was grabbed. I don't know what happened to it eventually.
Ge ba nkiša koloing ke bona station commander a tšwelela ke team.
When they took me to the car, I saw the station commander approaching her,
A botša gore na go diegang.
asking what is it.
And then ke ge ba mo tlhalosetša gore ba tlo ntshwara.
That's when they explained to the station commander that they are there to arrest me.
Ke ka mokgwa ke tshwereng ka ona.
That's how I was arrested.
Yes, then you agree with me that when we were arrested, besides the fact that you tried to put your hand to the firearm in an attempt to protect it, thinking that these were criminals, after that you did not resist this arrest.
Very correct. I'm with them. Ndele nakwela uligawisha nto usichunya sehemu siswewe kauru unana urikima ku kili kinyako ukela suspect udwa mungu ulewa lega ugana usha.
A se ke gane ka gore monagano o buile ka tseba lephodisa lana le le ntshwarang ka mo recognize.
No, I did not resist because my mind came back and I recognized the police officer.
And since you said you knew as early as February that you were being investigated until the date of your arrest, and you have been in contact or you met with your seniors from Polokwane and from the banks that you had policies with in respect of the deceased who appears in these charges. You never tried to interfere with that investigation at all, am I correct?
Yes. Ahora utumno le mwaga petrol. Mwago. Mwago nyingi. Kuna mo kompani mwe baba wulu wa usura mko mfuli watu. Wana baba wula kutanga wala mfole. to mo le mo au tinu uka lega o shitisha nyakisi.
Awa.
Correct, no?
And that you cooperated with the investigation. Am I correct?
Ule wabali chumishano uli nyakisi tibi.
Eh.
Yeah.
And where were you taken after you were arrested at Smawarana police station?
Kamra wa usaro kwa Smawarana ule wa ishopa.
Kidischo Polokwan, SAPS.
I was brought to the Polokwane.
And did you make any statement to the police?
No, no, let's start on the police.
No, Captain Mabunda Barilata Safaka Court.
No, Captain Mahmoud said to give a statement.
And if I may ask you now, that at the moment, now you know that you are facing multiple charges. I want you to venture into these charges one by one, where you have to provide an explanation as we deal with those charges. Am I correct?
Yeah. Kau le moa o yale o la fatola o sini o malo. Ibe kina ko tsene bele ngo mo mo wena. O ta fatal so. Ka ti wa ta. Okay?
Eh.
Yes. Your count one is in respect of Nobu Sidney. You know him.
Monajua masomo kima wapili nukusi
Eh, Gamate.
How do you know him?
Papa Wanak.
Child?
Accused number 3.
Accused number 3.
Firstborn.
My firstborn.
So, can you tell this court the background in terms of how to deal with Noku, which led to you having the first child, in short?
Well, that is the first episode. I would go now. When now, when young, well, Felix and this over.
Ke kopane le no back ka bo 1996.
I met Noku way back in 1996.
Re be re ya dinakeng mola seshego hostel go nvalo ke di go ba rile di upstairs a ke tsore na ba e bitsa eng ga nvalo mola seshego
where we would go to Dinakeng, there by the Sishu Hospital. Sishu Hospital.
se e be na ke be ke tswa ka seshego hostel.
Yeah, I don't know what is there now.
If I may assist, Your Worship, now it's a social housing program whereby lower income people are residing there, or families at the moment. That was the development.
Are you trying to give the description of
The
the place?
description, yes. Yes.
Will you devise it?
She says she does not know at the moment because back then it was a hostel. So I'm trying to assist that now it is a social housing program by the Department of Social Development. I'm just assisting. I don't
Assisting her.
We are assisting her in this way.
So you said it's assisting, it's now the institution in staff.
And the Worship Director should just submit a contract is now 1,300 hours and perhaps his child project for that.
In this way.
Yeah.
Stay in house.
1345.
A witness, we are going to have a child and at 1845.
Tatsereto emishanyana dine to lega kora
And then we will then continue with
to la peleka por esa lucha to la peleka ka fa ko ka reale
the
are me
Ariel.